Hello. We're back. My brain is kind of like fudge after that. Henry was just so brilliant and so intelligent, and I feel the need to go and have a lie down. But instead, I'm going to crack on. We've got 2 more parts of the first Chelsea FanCast of this season, and I'm so excited. I'm just pumped, mate. I'm loving it. It was great, wasn't it?
It was brilliant.
Anyway, I am Stamford Chidge. This is the Chelsea Football Fancast. That is Jonathan Kidd. Sir Jonathan of Kidd.
Yo.
This is my mate, Dr. Mark. I wrote a very nice article recently, and you feature in it. I shall share it with you later.
Okay, splendid. Are you published?
Well, yes, I am, yes. But I wrote lots of very nice things about you, actually.
Right.
And this is the fantastic Seb, who is freed from the shackles of university, is going to be a regular on this here show. And I am really looking forward to that, because Seb is intelligent. More to the point, Seb is also a very, very big punter on the old football. So he is extremely excited about having our next guest on this show, a man that we've actually had on the show when we used to do it in Putney. He was on the phone to us last season, and I think he's one of the best football punters out there. He really is brilliant. And his name is Nigel Seeley. Are you there, Nigel?
I am, Chizzy. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
Well, I'm under a bit of pressure there because the last guest you said was brilliant and very entertaining and intelligent. So that's rolled 3 of the things I'm not.
Yeah, but, you know, no matter how intelligent my guests are, you can always rely on me to dumb it down, Nigel. So no pressure.
Well, that's why I come on the show.
That's lovely. It's lovely to have you back on. I mean, also a very good time. He's good. Nigel is good. He's a quick guy, this man. Anyway, look, you know, it's a good time to have you on because it's the beginning of the season, of course, which for me, you know, smells of outrights. But we'll talk about those in a minute. But we've got our first home game of the season coming up, and we've got some interesting looking bets. I was on Odds Checker last night, and I was looking at a few of the bets. I'd be interested to hear what you say first, and then I'll tell you what appeals to me. How does that sound?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, looking at last night's performance, how can you not have a 3-point banker? Now, the trouble is with the performance that Chelsea threw down last night and the array of talent they have, are they any value at the price? Now, we can all have bets and say, oh, we fancy this bet and we think this will win and we think that'll win, but are they value? And value what makes you money? Now, Chelsea are 1 to 5 on to win that game. Now, you know, who's going to go into the shop on the way to Stamford Bridge on Saturday and risk 50 quid to win a tenner or risk 500 quid to win £100? It's just not something to attract. If they are going to win, there's no doubt about it. So you've got to find something that makes it a little bit more attractive to the punter and makes it attractive for someone to bet it. And, you know, I like the look of Chelsea to win by more than 1 goal, which, you know, unless they get a 1-goal start, you can get that at around about 8 to 11. I think that's a much better bet. Maybe 1.5 goal, you know, by winning 2 goals or more. The performance what we saw last night, I think the days of 1-0 to the Chelsea under Mourinho are long gone. I think this side could beat teams 5-6 easy at home. So there may be a little bit of value there, maybe minus 1.5 goal around about 10 to 11. Leicester are 16 to 1, they're not going to win. The draw is 6 to 1. If you're looking for a first goal score, Costa 130 to score the first goal. How much of a part will he play? That's the interesting thing for me. Will he come on and be rested after 30, 40 minutes being Drogba on for a big standing ovation? I think Drogba to score any time would be a much better bet for me rather than score the first goal because I don't think he'll start. But Chelsea will win. But at 5 on, I think your best bet is to put them in your accumulator, find 4 or 5 others. But I do think you're going to see a change. I think you're going to see a change in the style of Chelsea. I mean, you guys watch them week in and week out more than I do. But as somebody who watched that game last night, I think we're going to see a very much more gun-ho side. And games where you would have won 1 or 2-0 at home, I think you're going to beat teams 4 or 5 with a swagger, and I think it starts on Saturday.
I certainly hope so, man. It's very interesting to hear what you said there, because I picked out, you know, I agree entirely with what you say. I thought the overs and unders market was quite skinny as well, actually, interesting enough, when I had a look at that. But the first goal scorer market was fascinating because Hazard's out there at 6 to 1. And I thought that's pretty good value for first goal scorer.
He was exceptional last night, wasn't he? I mean, he's a bigger price than Fernando Torres, but that shows you how wrong that price is. It should have been a lot shorter. Fernando Torres is 5 to 1, Oscar 7, Fabregas 15 to 2. I just have a feeling, though, if you were asking me for what I would do on this bet, I would back Chelsea minus 1.5, so Chelsea would win by 2 or more goals at a decent price. And I would probably back Drogba to score any time. Because I just have a feeling that it could be 3 or 4-0 up. They'll bring him on. He'll take everything. He'll be so hungry to score on his return at Stamford Bridge. Yeah. And I think Drogba to score any time would be my bet.
That's a real Hollywood bet, that, isn't it? It's script writing.
It happens so many times, though, Chizzy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So many times.
No, I'm with you. I tell you, mate, I always do that. I always have a punt on daft things like that. I really do. I mean, to be fair, most of the time they don't come off. But, when they do, you tend to get pretty good value on it. I'll tell you another thing that I think we've got some really good value. Because, I mean, we were talking about this earlier on in the show. But, we've got some very big guys up for set pieces at the moment. And we've got a guy who can actually deliver a ball into the box. And when you've got players like Branner at 20-1 for first goal scorer and Terry and Cahill at 25-1, I think that's a good sneaky little bet.
Well, I always think you're much better off to back them to score any time because you're not going to get your 20-1 shot, but to score the first goal is a hard thing to find anyone to score.
Agree. What are they any time? What are they any time?
Well, roughly you work it out about a quarter of the price to score the first goal. So if you're 20-1, you'd be a 5-1 shot. If you're 25-1, you'd be a 5-1 shot. Or 6-1 shot. 20-1, you'd be a 5-1 shot. So it's roughly about a quarter of the odds of what you would be to score the first goal. And I think that would be the better way for me to play rather than the first goal. First goal, it tends to find bookies. You look at goal scorer betting market now in football, and you see the likes of Diego Costa at 130. You think, it's not worth having a quid in it. But statistically, the favourites are overpriced. If you back Diego Costa week in, week out this season at the Bridge to score the first goal at 3-1 or bigger, you will definitely make a return on your money by the end of the season. But it's not an attractive one. You go there every week, getting the 33-1 shot, the 50-1 shot. But money's money, and Diego Costa will get more fair share of first goals than everybody else.
Listen, I'm a bit of a mug punter, well, actually, I'm a bit of a mug, to be honest, Nigel. But
I wouldn't say that. I'd say the first point. But
yeah, okay. Well, mug punters for sure, and I've got a couple of really good mug punter bets for you. But you might disagree or agree with one or two of them. 3-1 correct score. I think the correct score is an absolutely stupid market, but it's quite fun to have a little punt on it. 3-1 again is at 12-1. I love the idea of splashing some cash stupidly on a Costa hat-trick at 14-1. But the one that actually might be quite sensible, and I think, we were all discussing this earlier in the show, the way that Chelsea basically won the game in the first half, absolutely outplayed, bullied and dominated them, and then took their foot off the gas in the second half. But you can get Chelsea, the half-time, full-time, Chelsea draw at 28-1.
Yeah, I mean, that means Chelsea to win at half-time and the draw to be the final result at the end of the whistle, not the half-time. It'll be slightly different. So that's Chelsea to be leading at half-time and Leicester to come back and get a draw. So I wouldn't be rushing about that.
I did do this very late last night, Nigel, to be fair.
Yeah, I know, and I've seen you late action as well. I know what you like. And the thing is that I just can't see Leicester scoring. Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. I mean, you were trying to look for value. Are Leicester really going to go? They're going to try to defend and get a 0-0 draw. They're not going to be good enough. It's going to be Chelsea to 0 for me. Maybe it's 3-0, 4-0. The only thing with Diego Costa, if he scored 2 goals with 25 minutes to go, will he have that extra 25 minutes? I think the whole thing's going to be set up for Drogba's return. Hazard 6-1 could be a decent bet. And Schürrle, I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, everyone goes on about the ball that Fabregas pat through last night, but the finish was exceptional. And that is a man who was at the peak of his career, just won the World Cup, flying around like, he was absolutely unbelievable last night, and he didn't get the plaudits he deserved because Fabregas took them all for him.
Yeah.
But I think he looks a massive goal-scoring threat. So I think it bodes well, and the bookmakers have reacted this morning with the odds on the Premier League just plummeting overnight. So
what are they now? I mean, we'll talk about the outrights now. We might as well, because I had it at 6-4 yesterday.
Well, that's the best price you can get in the marketplace now, 6-4. 11-8 is a general price, as short as even money with some bookmakers already, which is a staggering performance after one game. Now, wherever way you look at it, it's a two-runner race. I mean, it's between Chelsea and Manchester City. I thought Manchester City did play very well against the Newcastle side, who I thought have improved this season. They look good in certain patches. Arsenal 5-1. I mean, realistically, they're going to be double-figure prices. Manchester United should be 33 Z10s. Liverpool 12-1. They're never going to be able to cope with the Champions League as well as the Premier League. So it is a two-runner race. But the only thing I would say, I remember, your guys will remember it much more than me, but as a punter, I remember, I'm sure it was under Scolari, where Chelsea started off a campaign in scintillating form. And they got down to about 5-4 one day, and I had far too much on them to win the league. And it proved very, very costly. This is a long, long season. And people overreact to one performance very, very quickly. And you may get carried away. Chelsea started off exceptionally well, and they are definitely the team to beat. But again, it goes back to my initial point. Are they value at 6-4? Do you want to put 100 quid on them now to win the Premier League title and pick up 150 quid in May? Not for me.
Interesting. No, it doesn't appeal to me. Seb, you wanted to pop in here.
Nigel, what do you think Chelsea's chances of winning the Champions League this year?
Well, I mean, you've got to look at. To be honest with you, when Chidge asked me to do this, the first time I've looked at the Champions League price markets. It's the first time I've looked at it all through since last season. I haven't even looked at it, and I was staggered to see Bayern Munich the favourites. I couldn't believe why they were the favourites. I mean, Real Madrid and Barcelona, for me, Real Madrid got to be favourites over Bayern Munich. If they played in a one-off game, Real Madrid would be favourites against anybody in Europe. There's no doubt about it. Chelsea are 10-1. They've certainly got the team. They've only got the Champions League experience now with the players they've brought in. They're going to be, for me, going to be a better spread bet. I mean, if you're not used to spread betting, obviously, the further you go in the competition, the more you're rewarded. They're never going to get knocked down the group stages. They're never going to knock down the last 16. They'll win it. They won't finish second in the group like Arsenal do. They will be quarter-finalists, semi-finalists minimum. But I just feel that I still think the Spanish two are the front two, and I can't believe Bayern Munich are the favourites. So for me, Real Madrid at 4-1 are a fantastic bet on that market.
To be fair, Nigel, I mean, I looked at the Champions League market, and you're right. I mean, to win it outright is 10-1. Runner-up's 9-1. Semi-finalists 7-2. And I actually think there's some good value there because, you know, Chelsea's record of getting to semi-finals is almost unsurpassed.
Well, there's no. I mean, it's a spread bet, Chidge, because the thing is, you're not going to get knocked down at any other stage after semi-finals or quarter-finals. So you get your money back if you get to quarter-finals. You win when you get to semi-finals. So on that index, you know, you're a certainty. But I just think Real Madrid are just a little. You know, the players they bought. You know, look at the team they've assembled. I mean, they're fantastic. And the advantage they have over there is when they get to the nitty-gritty of the final end of the Champions League, they're pretty much sewn up the domestic level already with Barcelona. They don't have games like we do where they have to go to Stoke away on a Wednesday. They can beat anybody 6 or 7-0. The weakness in that league is so weak. That's why they do better in Europe. There's a couple of other little bets I found with Chelsea which I thought was probably a little bit of interest. I mean, they're 6-4 to win the league, but Jose Mourinho's 9-4 to win the LMA Manager of the Year, which I don't think makes sense because I think, you know, if you go through statistically, apart from Tony Pulis last year, if you win the Premier League title, you win that award. So that, for me, would be a much better angle rather than the 6-4 Chelsea to win the league. Looking at some PFA Player of the Year markets, Fabregas now the 10-1 favourite to win that, along with Hazard. So you know, you've got 5 or 6 players in the first 25 in the top in the PFA Player of the Year market. I mean, Torres 10-1, Aaron Ramsey 14, Oscar 33, but Fabregas has started off with a bang there.
You know what, Nigel? That's really interesting because, you know, when I checked this last night, Fabregas was still out at 12-1.
Yeah, he's in the 10-1 on the back of that performance last night. Money's come for him today. I mean, I think the whole. I mean, again, I bow to you guys' judgment. You know, I'm just a betting guy, and I watch football. I've got no real opinion, but I think these players takes a little weight off Hazard. And I think you're going to see a massive season from him this season. I think last night, the amount of dribbles he took on, he didn't feel like he had to do everything. He had Fabregas doing all the work for him. He didn't really have to track back as much as he'd done because Schürrle was doing it on the other side. And I think this could be Hazard's season. And if I was, you know, Fabregas is getting applauded today, but I think your man is going to be your match winner throughout this season is Eden Hazard. And I would much rather back him at 10-1 than Fabregas.
Yeah. You know what? My last little cheeky bet, you know, just to prove what a mug punter I am, Nigel, and make your colleagues rich. 100-1, right, for the treble, Premier League, Champions League, and the FA Cup.
On that note, I'm off.
You're just scared. You're scared I won't win.
One game, right? Well, you know, it's a good start. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, it's
I know. It'd be great fun, though, if that happened. I mean, you know, to be honest, I don't see it happening, but you never know. Stranger things have. Nigel, you are absolutely brilliant. We're going to have to get you back on the show one day because you're always great fun.
Any time you want, mate. Good luck for the season for you guys, all right?
And what about you? I mean, I'm going to talk to you about QPR before you disappear. I mean, you must be disappointed on Saturday.
To be honest with you, we never win an opening days of the season. We lost 4-0 against Bolton. We were awful last season. We lost again this campaign. The players he's brought in are aging players, but there is money in the bank, I think, and also I think it's a very weak Premier League.
Is he going to be playing Glenn Hoddle?
I wish he did. he's got more legs than Rio Ferdinand, that's for sure.
Well, that wouldn't be hard, would it? Oh, yeah, they love that. They like that. I thought it was a great joke. Sorry, Seb, go on.
But it's not a joke, it's true. It's not a joke.
Do you think do you think Remy's going to stay there, or is he going to leave?
No, I think he's an absolute certainty to leave. I mean, from his performance just out on the weekend, I think he had one shot. I think he was a bit of a threat. And they've linked with the Chilean guy. I think there's a couple of signings coming in there, but I can't see Remy staying. But the only, I mean, QPR are going in for a big trouble season. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But this Premier League's weak. I think there's a lot of weak sides.
Yeah,
I think Burnley will struggle. I think Aston Villa, despite their win, will struggle. I think West Brom will be in big trouble. So I think there's a lot of bad teams in this division. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be okay.
All right, mate. Well, listen, we'll have to try and catch up for a beer, but I wish you luck down there, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again later on in the season.
I know you never meant that, and you were doing that through gritted teeth.
I was not. I was on
TV.
I know Go back and watch it, and you can see how genuine I was.
Take care. All right, good. See you later, guys.
Take care, fella. Nice to speak to you. Brilliant. Nigel Seeley, everybody. Lovely, superb bloke. And I'll tell you, he knows his stuff when it comes to betting. Now, we've got to go to a quick break because we'll be back afterwards to give you a little bit of the wonderful Chelsea chatter stats. He might not be here, but he is still sending them in like a good boy. And we have a little bit of a roundup of some Chelsea supporter type news, and then we will be saying arrivederci for this evening. We will see you in a mini second. Come on!